Hey there, I am so happy you're here. Today we are making gluten-free pretzel-encrusted chicken breasts with a cauliflower puree that's also dairy-free and served over dressed arugula. It's a really wonderful, delicious meal, but I'm not gonna lie, it's not as easy as the recipe that I found on Epicurious made it out to be. I love to go and find recipes, Epicurious, Food and Wine, Bon Appetit, and especially ones that I need to convert to gluten and dairy free. It's just more of a challenge. But I like to make them, see how they are, like out of the gate, made exactly the way the recipe calls for, and then I can add my own twist. The thing that really concerned me about this recipe, and I find this with a lot of recipes, they expect you to be the greatest multitasker in the world. Okay, while the oil is heating, you need to use the food processor for this and then do this and do that. And it's like, I've been cooking for years and I'd like to think I'm pretty good at it. And this recipe made me stop and go, wait, I got to plan this out. So that's exactly what I did. I have it broken down. It's a complicated recipe, but it's completely doable if you do your mise en place, get everything in your place, and do all your measuring and your prep ahead of time before you start the process, which that's what we're going to do, and I'm going to walk you through it step by step. So it's going to be pretty easy. Now the recipe says this makes a great weeknight meal. I'm going to disagree and say this makes a great weekend meal because, you know, who wants to work this hard at the end of the day? Okay, so let's get started. The first step is the balsamic. This is going to be drizzled on at the end, and we need to reduce it so it's a little thicker. So I'm going to put it in the pan about half a cup, and I'm going to go over it, put it on medium-high, and we're going to let it reduce for about 15 minutes. The next step is to get the cauliflower ready for the oven. We're going to roast the cauliflower and the garlic. In the original recipe, it called for steaming the garlic and the cauliflower. And I thought to myself, that's not going to be very flavorful. I would much rather roast it and get all that great caramelization in the oven. And the garlic's going to roast. Oh, roasted garlic is such a better flavor than just garlic. Not that it's not good. I do like just garlic, but roasted garlic is better. So I've got it all chopped up, and I have the garlic mixed in here with the cauliflower in its skins because it's going to roast better that way. I just have to remember to pull it out of its skins before I puree this. So I'm going to add some sunflower oil, pretty liberal with that, and some salt, fairly liberal with the salt as well, and some pepper. Good amount of pepper in there. I'm going to mix it up with my hands to get everything coated. I'm going to spread it out, not too wide and not too close, but just right. And now it's going to go in the 400-degree oven for about 25 minutes to roast. And while it's roasting, we're going to do some of our other tasks. Now it's time to turn our attention to the chicken breast. So what I've done, I have 2 chicken breasts, about 1.5 pounds, and I sliced these in half, and then we're going to pound them down to about 1/4 inch thick. Because these are so huge, but if you try to pound these to 1/4 inch from this, you're going to beat the hell out of your chicken. It's not going to be good. So I am going to slice these in half. Hopefully I get them even. Not my best. Okay, I did it. Yeah, woohoo! It's yeah, that's not bad. I'll take that. Okay, so now I'm going to take the plastic wrap, get it over the chicken, and start, wrong side, beating my chicken to about 1/4 inch thick. Now halfway through the pounding process, I like to flip it so I don't beat up just one side. I beat up both sides equally. And toward the end, and let me move this out of the way so you can see better. Toward this end of the chicken, it's pretty flat and thin, so I'm not going to pound as much back there. But just slightly pound it. I mean, if I really wanted to take my aggressions out, oh God, that would feel so good. But then I wouldn't have any chicken left. So I'm maintaining myself and holding myself back. Okay, I'm thinking that looks, I can feel it, this part right here. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to remove him to the pan, and we're going to go, this guy is pretty thin already, so he's not going to take much. I don't even think I'm going to have to flip this one. Now, make sure when you're working with raw meat like this, that you're very careful about what you touch with your chicken fingers, which I have chicken fingers right now, raw chicken fingers. So as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going straight to the sink to wash my hands. And of course, I've got my cutting board. It's going to get washed and sanitized as well. Let's see, do we need to flip him over? Just maybe a couple on this side. Okay, we have all 4 of our chicken breasts ready to go. So I'm going to go wash my hands, and then we're going to get into the food processor. On the way back from cleaning up, I had to stop and check on the balsamic, and it was definitely ready. So you can tell I took it off the heat. When you take it off the heat, that's when you really start to seeing it reduce and get sticky. Look at that. Woo! See how it sticks to the side of the pan? And then look how it sticks to, oh, it just coats the spoon. So it is perfect and ready. So I'm going to go put this back on the stove. I'm not going to have it on any heat. It's just going to sit there until we need it. We have one more thing prepped before we get into puree and cooking the chicken, and that is dressing the arugula. So the arugula is going to sit either on the bottom or to the side, however you choose to plate. And we've got to dress it with some flavor. Can't just have straight arugula. You could, but it's just not going to taste good. The original recipe called for olive oil and a little bit of lemon juice. And I wanted to add an additional layer of flavor by adding some sherry vinegar. And it's not much. There's no measurement. On the recipe, it's going to say some sherry vinegar. So I'm just going to barely, because sherry vinegar is very strong. Yeah, you can see I'm not putting much in here. Okay, that's all I'm putting. A little bit of oil, not much of that, and then just a smidgen of the lemon. Okay, then I'm gonna get my hands in here, which I so love to do, and mix it up. And this is gonna sit while everything else is cooking, and it'll be nice and flavorful when we're ready to plate. This recipe is obviously going to be gluten and dairy free, and a cauliflower puree usually involves some milk and some butter. And so I have replaced the milk with unsweetened cashew milk, the butter with Earth Balance. But in my opinion, based on other dairy-free sauces and dishes I've made, it's not enough. It doesn't have the depth of flavor. It doesn't have the richness that cow milk and cow butter have. So I have a few tips and tricks that I do to make it almost as good. Well, you could almost say as good, maybe even a little better than regular dairy-full things. So I took my milk, the butter, and I added some chicken stock and some tofutti dairy-free sour cream. And I'm going to take all that and put it in my saucepan. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper and also a little bit of salt. And what we're going to do is, the recipe doesn't call for this. It basically, the regular recipe, if you were making it not gluten-free and not dairy-free, you just make your puree all at once. You pour it into the food processor when you're pureeing the cauliflower. But we're going to let this simmer for about 10 or 15 minutes, because what's going to happen is all these flavors are going to meld together and create this wonderful depth of flavor and a richness that is much needed in this puree, which would be missing because we're not using dairy-full ingredients. So I'm going to go put this on the stove at about medium-high, let it come to a slight boil, then I'm going to turn it down to low and let it simmer. The other major conversion from gluten-full to gluten-free are the pretzels, obviously. Now, I'm kind of partial to Snyder's. Glutino makes a fairly good pretzel, but I've always loved the Snyder's better. Now, I think that the gluten-free pretzels are much, much crunchier and harder than regular pretzels. At least that's how I remember, because I haven't had a regular pretzel since probably 2006, so it's been a while. So for this recipe, we're going to do a 3-step dredging process with the chicken. First the flour, then a mustard egg mix, and then the crushed pretzels. It makes such a wonderful crust, and the flavor is amazing. So we are going to pulverize the pretzels. It takes an entire bag, which I'm not going to put the whole bag in. I'm going to go a little slowly here. And this is going to be loud, and it's going to take a while. My food processor has this little spout thing, and it's also an eye-hole. So I can look in there and see what's going on without taking off the top. But I still want to take off the top because it's a better way to look at it. We're getting closer. We only have small pieces left. So I'm going to put the rest of this in here. And Go again. Oh, look at that. Look at that. See, there's a few bigger pieces. I'm going to go, this one guy up here, I'm not happy with him. Push this in a little bit. One more. I think I'm going to pulse. Okay, we are done. And I have an irrational fear of a blade from a food processor. So I'm like taking it out, holding it out like that. And as fast as I can get it back in, I'm good. All is right in the world now, because that's scary. I don't know where that comes from. I need some therapy for that. Okay, so this is, like I said, what we're going to dredge the chicken in, the third step. So I'm going to put it in a sheet pan. This is going to be the best way to contain it and not make a mess. I'm going to put this to the side, and we will be using that shortly. Okay, I'm so excited. It's puree time. Woohoo! The first thing I have to do is get the skins off of the garlic, which I may or may not have left them on the last time I made this and had to go digging them out. I'm not going to confirm or deny that, but you know, it's a pretty high probability that I did. Okay, where is all my garlic? Okay, get in there. Oh, roasted garlic, so delicious. Oh, the smells. Oh, okay, I think I had 4. Oh, 5, sorry. Okay, you know, if I puree the skins, you know, it'll probably be okay, but I don't really want to go there. Okay, so garlic's in. Okay, everybody is getting into the food processor. Nobody gets left behind except for the garlic skins. They don't get to play. So I like to give this a good pulse or two before I get any liquid in. So for this puree, we're going to want it to be fairly smooth. So it's going to take a little bit of food processing here. So I'm going to put all of that delicious cashew milk and earth balance and chicken stock in there. And I'm going to once again watch things spinning around in a food processor. So I'm at tasting stage 1. Always taste your food as you're going along. It's critical. This is pretty hot. Oh, that's pretty good. Does need a little salt. Maybe just a little more salt. A little more. And definitely pepper. Pepper, pepper, pepper. Oh, it's like a workout. Okay, that was at least 3 sets. I'm done. I don't have to exercise any more today. That's it, I'm done. Okay. It's going to take a good 30 to 60 seconds to get it to the smooth puree texture you're looking for. Texture-wise, we may be here. Oh yeah, that's good. Oh, that garlic flavor is just amazing. I think we're done. Okay, I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to get the dredge station out here, and we are going to stick our hands in flour and mustard and pretzels and have some fun. Okay, we're ready to dredge. This is going to be the fun part. But I forgot to mention that when I was done with the puree, I scooped it out of the food processor, put it in a saucepan, put it on the stove on low just to keep it warm while we do this last step. We're in the home stretch. We're almost there. So we're going to take each piece of chicken. We're going to coat it in flour, coat it in the mustard and egg mixture, and then coat it in the pretzel. I am using gfexplorers cooking blend flour. We have a special flour for cooking purposes, savory purposes. It's been tested on many different things, and that's what we're using. So you're going to want to put it in there and definitely get all the excess off. And then it's into the mustard. And you're going to want to do the same, kind of slide some of it off, just make sure it's nice and coated. This is a messy step, but it's actually kind of fun, I think. And then into the pretzel coating. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all this pretzel coating to 1/2 of the pan so I can put the finished ones on this side, because I don't want to dirty another sheet pan. Okay, so we're going to do that. Pat it in there, make sure it's nicely coated, shake off any excess, and we're going to go right here. Okay, so we are progressively going to get flour, mustard, pretzel fingers as we go through this. But that's okay. Like I said, part of the fun. Okay, we're going to shake that one off. These are nice and thin. They're going to cook pretty quickly. Okay, now we're going to just coat that. I'm kind of rubbing it in a little bit. But then I'm pulling off the excess. That one, I pulled a little too much excess. Okay. Into the pretzels. And I'm really coating them, patting them. Oh God, this is gonna be so good. Oh my goodness. Okay, chicken breast number 3. Oh, and this flour blend here has another component I added that wasn't in the original recipe, which is rubbed sage. I kind of felt that there was no herbs other than the arugula, and it just needed some more flavor. So I added that. I really like the way that flavor works with the mustard and the pretzels and the chicken. This is my last one, so I'm just gonna squish it around in the bowl here, get all that mustard up. And this is a big breast, so I'm gonna make sure I get it fully coated. Okay, last bit of pretzel. This one I really want to get coated well. Let's get you out of the way here. Okay, I think we are good. Now, before I started this, I started heating up the oil. It could take a good 10 minutes to heat. We're looking for about 350 degrees or so. So I am going to go wash this these interesting ingredients off my hand, and then we're going to go check and see if our oil is at temp, and if it is, we're going to start frying. My favorite way to test to see what temperature the oil is a handy dandy infrared thermometer. It's a great tool, a great toy, however you want to look at it. Do not point it in somebody's face. When my son was little, I had to really make him not do that. He wanted so bad to do that, but I wouldn't let him. Okay, so we are at 404, we're a little high. I'm going to turn it down a little bit, but I'm going to go in with our first piece. And you're going to want to do these in batches, 2 at a time. Oh yeah, look, that oil is ready. You can see how it bubbled up. Good to go. You can see the level of oil that I put in. It's about 2 cups. The exact measurement will be in the recipe in the description below. And so we're going to cook these about 3 minutes each side. They should cook through by the time we're done with about 6 minutes. I am going to check 2 or so minutes in to see what the other side looks like, but generally that should be enough. One other reason we pound the chicken down to be 1/4 inch thin is so it doesn't cook so long in the oil. And you want it to brown the outside and cook the inside all in one shot. So I checked the time. In about 2 minutes, I am going to look under the hood here, see what the other side looks like, and then flip them. Okay, let's take a look under the hood. What do we look like? Oh, look at that golden brown. I think it's time to turn that puppy. I'm going to guess this guy's ready too. Oh, look at that golden brown. Perfect. This is exactly what you want. Let's cook for about 2 more minutes, then we're going to pull them out onto the cooling rack and get our other 2 into the pan. Same process. Then we're going to plate, and then we're going to eat.
All right, we're back, and I've been behind the camera watching this whole thing. You had the hard part. I'm here for the fun part, which is the tasting.
Of course,
so
yeah.
If you want to plate us up, I'm going to talk a little bit about our wine pairing that we chose here.
So I'm going to plate. I'm just going to preface this and say that you can plate however you want. This is my choice, and plating is a very kind of a personal decision how you want to present. So I'm going to do my thing. You can do yours. You talk about the wine while I get this all set, and we should be good.
All right. So with this, I found, again, Trader Joe's is our favorite place to shop for inexpensive wine. And I found a Cabernet Franc out of Paso Robles. Now, Cab Franc is typically a blending grape. You don't really see it by itself in a bottle by itself, and it was like $6.99, which was perfect, so we gave it a try, and it is awesome. It's Lazy Bones. If you find it, get it. Trust me, it's a great wine. One of the things I love about it is it's right in the middle of soft versus tannicky, and it's right in the middle of smooth versus acidic. So I think it was going to pair really, really great with this, so we went ahead and tried it. Looks like you're ready to go there. That looks fantastic.
It looks really pretty, and it makes me want to eat it. And you know what? I do get to eat it, which is so cool. Okay, we have 2 forks. Small fork for me, big fork for you. Okay, I'm gonna take the first slice here. And the goal here, and this is a composed bite, so we're gonna want some arugula.
Bit of everything.
Okay, of course. See, that's why I shouldn't have the small fork. I don't have room, but I like the small fork. And a little bit of puree. Okay, I'm going in. Oh my God, that is so Wonderful. I love the balsamic. I probably could have put less on there, but then the more I eat it, I like the amount of balsamic. The crunch of the pretzels, the flavor of the mustard, incredible.
Everything works together.
It works really well. And let's take a sip of wine. How does it pair with our wine?
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, that pairs wonderfully. I don't even think we need a knife. Look at that.
No, it does. It's cutting without a knife. And
Oh
that
my
wine,
God.
it is a kind of a perfect balance of each thing.
It is. I love this. Okay, I'm just going to shove some more in my mouth.
And I'm going to go in for some more. The crispiness that the pretzels provide on this chicken is pretty outstanding.
Pretzel-crusted chicken breast is the best thing ever. I absolutely love this dish, and as complicated as it can be, I've broken it down into manageable steps, and I will make this. This is going to become a staple. I hope you like it, because we're going to make it a lot.
It's fantastic. And again, it's gluten-free and dairy-free. And if
It
you're
is not fat-free.
And if you're not either one of those things, you can make it with regular pretzels and regular milk and butter.
Right, because that was the original recipe, was gluten-full and dairy-full. It wasn't gluten-free and dairy-free. I just turned it into that. So the recipe is in the description below on our website, gfexplorers.com. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe and enable notifications. We release videos every Wednesday and Sunday, so there'll be a lot to see. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. Thank you so much, and until we meet again, happy eating.
Cheers.